Hi guys, today I'm coming to you with a very realistic video from my very realistically messy living room and my very realistic makeupless face and tired eyes to talk about realistic expectations since I became a mother, happiness, how to make sure that I keep myself positive and happy, because let's face it, we face a lot of challenges as mothers. I know that everybody faces a lot of challenges, but I'm specifically talking about since I became a mother, because my mind changed a lot and it's a bit harder than it used to be to stay positive. I think because we're all so busy all the time, and I have a sleeping baby on the sofa. That bundle of pink fluff there, that's Isabella, but she's fine. I can see her. She's just squirming a lot with wind. So anyway, what was I saying? What was I saying? I can't believe I just forgot twice. Let's reset. Yes, so my mind changed since I became a mother. My focus changed from myself to my children being the priority and the most important things, important people, not things, in my life. And so their demands always come before mine, which means that life can be very chaotic when you don't have time for yourself, because you're putting other people before you, and those people are my children. And I don't consider that a burden, because I choose to do that. I love my children to bits. I don't think I even need to say that, but I chose to have children, and so I don't blame them for the lack of time. It's just a fact, and it's something that can weigh down on you after a while. I found that it took me a long time to admit, even to myself, that some days were just absolutely pants. Some days were so hard that I felt like I didn't even know how I was going to make it to the end, and it's fine. It's fine to look at your children some days and think, oh my goodness, are you joking? Are you trying to absolutely drive me insane? Because that's what children do. And yes, so today I'm here to talk about two things. To talk about how I feel as a mother and how I change some of that overwhelming feeling that we sometimes get that makes us feel completely in over our heads into feeling positive and happy. I am a happy person 99.9% of the time, and that's what I aim to be. Obviously I can't be happy all the time, and there are certain things that I do to bring myself back into that happy place. I'm kind of like a glass half full kind of girl, and I'm quite proud of that. I find it extremely hard when I'm not in control, and having children puts me completely out of control. So sometimes I am a huge perfectionist, and I'm not proud of that. I think it's something negative for me, because it stops me from doing things to a good level without thinking that I've failed. So what happens is that sometimes I am fine as a mother. I dedicate a good amount of time to my children. I'm nice enough to them. I play with them. I am a good enough wife, and I take care of my house and my husband, and I do a good enough amount of work. But that good enough just isn't good enough for my perfectionist mind, which means that I then kind of like, it weighs down on me, that pressure to always be better, spend more time with the kids, be a better wife, look after the house better, do more work, and all of that weighs me down a lot. And when I didn't have children, the demands were just less, and they were more sort of like centered on me. Since having children, this kind of expanded into, I need to be better. And I don't aim to be the perfect mother, because there is no such thing as the perfect mother, but I want to be the mother that I aim to be for my children, and that is a level that I hold myself up to that is not realistic. And I realized that, and since having Isabella, about 6 weeks, coming up to 7 weeks now, things just became even more chaotic, and I've held myself up to even higher standards than before, which has had a massive impact on me. I've found myself feeling very stressed and very anxious, and I wake up in the morning and there's already this anxiousness, this weight on my shoulders, this pressure of how today is going to go. Am I going to get enough time to play with James? Am I going to be able to feed Isabella regularly so that my milk supply is not affected? Is she going to be happy just having my milk? Am I going to have to top her up with formula? Is the house going to be a mess? Am I going to have time to do the laundry or do the dishes? Am I going to have time to speak to Matthew? Am I going to get any time to do work? And all of that comes into my brain the moment I wake up. And as you can imagine, that already sends a stressed Ysis downstairs. So when I get downstairs, I'm already at a level of stress that it's completely unmanageable, and I snap, I get frustrated, and I'm not happy with that person, that kind of stressed person that I have become. And I kind of had to take a step back yesterday and think, hang on a minute, I'm not that person. I wake up and there's this dark cloud over my head of negativity and overwhelming feelings of I can't cope, and I don't want to cry, but I feel like I might. So I had to take a step back yesterday and think, I'm not that person. I've always been able to think objectively and to kind of bring myself down to, hang on a minute, you're a happy person. Stop waking up every day and being so moody and snapping at people, even though the point is, when I'm doing it, I don't think I'm being unreasonable. And then when I like snap at the smallest things, I think about it and I think, I didn't need to snap at that. Why am I doing it? And I know I'm sleep deprived, but you know, all of these things, I had to kind of like bring myself back and think, these are all excuses. You can be happy and you can be a happier person and not be so stressed. So let's go back to a positive side of the video. I thought, what did I used to do to make myself snap out of these moments of feeling overwhelmed, of negative feelings? And I remembered that I used to analyze everything. And over-analyzing is a problem that I've always had, but analyzing is something that I find that really helps me. So I started to analyze every little bit of my life that was making me stressed. And that kind of brought things back to reality for me, because what I realized is most things that are stressing me out are so mundane and so easily fixed that they are not even worth the stress. And I thought, right, all I have to do is to get rid of the mundane worries, the small worries, and keep the things that are actually worth worrying about, and see how that affects my level of stress. And since I've done that, since yesterday, I've felt so much more relaxed. I've not had an easy day today, and we didn't have an easy night last night. The kids were up and screaming. James would not sleep from 7 until 10 p.m. He just screamed the house down. We're going through a difficult phase with him. I've spoken about it in a video which I'll leave linked if you want to watch. But bless him, he just doesn't know any better. We try to help him as much as I can, but he's struggling with separation anxiety. Isabella's okay. Isabella screamed with colic last night, so it wasn't an easy night and it wasn't an easy day today. But somehow, since kind of like forcing me to look inside and seeing how I'm feeling, I felt like I coped better and that I was able to manage my levels of stress better. And I know it hasn't been long, but I wanted to make this video on how I'm feeling after just one day of changing my mindset a little bit. And it's nothing magic or life-changing, it's just about my mindset. And I don't know if this works for everybody, but it has worked for me. Things that I do to make myself feel happier. First, I kind of analyze my problems and I try to discard the ones that are not worth worrying about. Things like, I was worrying about if I was going to have time to do the laundry. Who cares? Who really cares? I know it's important to clean your clothes, to tidy your house, but when you're putting that as a pressure on yourself, no one cares. So that went straight to the bottom of my list of priorities. I was worrying whether or not Isabella was getting enough milk. Then I decided to look into why I was worrying about that, and is it reasonable for me to worry? No, it's not actually reasonable, because she is putting on weight, her clothes are getting tighter, her cheeks are getting chubbier, and she's getting weighed every week pretty much, and her weight is going up. So why am I worrying about something that I have been proven wrong every week? She is gaining weight and my milk is enough for her. She's okay. I keep saying she's okay because I don't want you guys to worry that I'm not looking after my child. She is fine. So these little things were weighing me down, and I decided to not let them weigh me down anymore. And so that's the first thing I do, is I analyze my problems. The second thing is I look inside myself and I look at everything that I have in my life, and I ask myself the question, shouldn't that be enough to make me happy? The answer to that question is always yes, and that's the one question that snaps me out of any kind of bad mood. I have beautiful, healthy children. I have an amazing husband. I have very supportive family and friends. I have a house. I have a job. I have everything that I could possibly need. We're all healthy, and so we should all be happy. That's something I learned from my mum. It was kind of like an exercise that she used to do with us whenever we were complaining too much about life, and we were saying, oh, life is rubbish, as teenagers, me and my siblings, you know, like, oh, I hate my life because of this, because of that. And she used to bring us back to reality by saying that you're healthy, you're happy, you have family and friends who love you, you have everything that you could possibly need. Why is your life rubbish? And so that's the other thing that I do to kind of exercise my brain into going back to being happy. And the third thing that I do is I try to do something for myself, and in order to reset my brain. So if I've had a really rubbish full-on day when I haven't even had time to clean my teeth, it has happened before, I make sure to take a couple of minutes, even if that's all that I get in the day, to do something that gives me peace, that gives me comfort. And it could be anything. It could be washing my face with a nice expensive cleanser to make my skin feel so luxurious and amazing, or it could be having a nice warm cup of tea, or catching up with a friend on the phone, or watching a TV series. And recently what I've been doing is, whilst I'm breastfeeding, I know there's nothing else that I can do. Instead of worrying that I could be doing a lot of things and I'm stuck there breastfeeding, I think about this time that I'm spending with my baby, which is an amazing bonding time, and I look at her as much as possible, just appreciate that moment with her. And if she's feeding for an hour, obviously I can't be looking at her face for a whole hour, I put something on the telly, and I've been watching Suits, and I've been watching, what else have I been watching? Oh, I've just finished How to Get Away with Murder. Just something to take my mind off and reset, because that kind of transports me into a different world for a few minutes, and then I go back to my life and I realize I'm so blessed, I'm so lucky, this is my life, these are my children. And yeah, things just don't seem too bad when you've had 5 minutes for yourself. So that is everything that I wanted to say today, really. I'm sorry if this was a bit all over the place, but I hope that you were able to kind of get to know me a little bit better and understand how my mind works, and I hope that you found this video somewhat interesting or useful if you're feeling like me, that some days are so overwhelming and you just can't snap out of it. I hope you found some useful tips to maybe reset your brain and think how lucky you are to have the life that you have, because I am extremely lucky. I'm trying this new thing now where I stop apologizing for things that aren't as important. I saw Louise Pentland, Sprinkle It Glitter, she did a video about apologizing too much for mundane things, and I'm trying out this thing because I think she's absolutely right. Why do we apologize for things like not having makeup on, having a messy living room? So I've stopped myself this whole video from saying, sorry I don't have any makeup on, sorry my living room is a mess, sorry my baby is crying. And I've thought about it so much throughout this video, it's mental, but I've stopped myself, and I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back for that. So if you've made it through the end of this video, well done. Thank you very much for sticking around. Subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss my videos, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care and have a nice day. Bye.